Welcome to today's edition of the Counter Press. My name again is Fiifi-Manfred. Thank you very much for joining us. And I mean, it's an angry session of the Counter Press. This time it's for the Black Meteors and how they were totally capitulated. I mean, there's a big question of if there's a need to restart our football. There's a need to reboot our football. There's a need to start a football from scratch because really, it hasn't been long since Ghana failed to deliver their senior men's national team at the AFCON. There was total drubbing at the local Black Stars. And then again, last night, there was the under 23, the Black Meteors. Mind you, since Barcelona, Ghana have never qualified to the Olympic Games. And the last time, 2019, when Ibrahim Tanko tried, his team placed fourth, and then they lost only by a penalty shootout. So this time, the hopes of the country have been high because this team have been very, very good in getting the job done in the qualifications. And it was the same call. They played very well. First game that they played, they went into this game very well. They won the game by 3 goals to 2 against a certain DR Congo side. I mean, there were questions about the starting lineup of Ibrahim Tanko's team where people like Daniel Efriye-Bani, who are seen to have been rusty in recent months after moving away from Ghana to go and play in the Swiss league, did earn a starting spot in the after 45 minutes. He was changed, and then Yeboah 99 ideas was in there. It sprung up a lot of changes. You could tell that the team began to play well just when Yeboah did come in. So essentially, it was a good one when we won by 3 goals to 2. Now, the bigger task, the Herculean one, the much more difficult one was the one that came in front of us yesterday against the host nations, Morocco, last night in Rabat. The conversation was that if you have been able to hold that DR Congo side, especially when we saw Morocco and they were not good enough, we should have been able to play well. We should have held our own. Losing by 5 goals to 1 is I mean, it's total drubbing and disappointing as a Ghanaian. For me, I think that the whole game was down to we lost the whole game, which was down to technical ineptitude of our bench. And I'll go back by saying this. Trust me, if there's supposed to be a proper change in Ghana football, then there needs to be a change in coaching education. If you've had your license in this country like I've had, you know that coaching education is lacking. I mean, at that level, it is not the best that you see. You read and scan through information and document from elsewhere, and you know that these people are doing something proper, much more practical, much more goal-oriented to a particular thing that they want, particular idea that they want coaches to get, especially at the developmental level. We do not have that here. When we played against Morocco, we were so disjoint. Our back four was disjoint. Our central midfield was disjoint. Attacks were disjoint as well. And he asked the question, how did we prepare to go into this game? If you look at the third goal of the Congolese, David Opanfrane carries the ball from the back, looks for options to pass through, doesn't get it. He loses the ball, and then it's a counter-attack, and we have been scored. The telepathy between the two center-backs are lost. No communication, nothing whatsoever. Nobody knows who's closing down this for me to stay and tag the space. Nobody knows when my fullback is getting out. How do I go outside and defend from wide areas? That is a bigger problem for us, and I saw it yesterday. It is down to coaching. My problem again is that how do you play Fatawu Issahaku from out wide? You don't get the best out of Fatawu Issahaku from outside. He doesn't cross the ball. He doesn't create from 1v1 to even cuts back or whatsoever. He doesn't do all of those things. Fatawu is always looking to cut onto his left foot and then strike a good one at goal, which is that in itself is good. But again, in the general sense of the game, does a player have to do that all the time? Is he not supposed to be playing to instruction? What really are the instructions that Ibrahim Tanko gave his charges yesterday before the game starts, before the game went on? You play Fatawu Issahaku in central areas, not from out wide. And then whilst we lost the game on tactical grounds, while we were not so good very well in the middle of the pack, and I give a lot of the discredits to Ibrahim Tanko. And even amongst that as well, there is a story of that Salim Adams player. Salim Adams is not a DM. In the first game we played a Siam, he was lone in the middle of the pack. He was very good with his interceptions. He was very good with his ball recoveries. He was very good even off the ball. He was very good on the ball whilst playing forward to find options up top. But this time, Salim slots into that midfield. It doesn't work out. Sobila was a pale shadow of himself in the middle of the park. He was not exciting at all. There was nothing so disjointed in the middle of the park for the Black Meteors yesterday. And I think that this goes very, 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 it goes a very long way from how we failed as a country in the last 10, 20 years in coast football, in development of talent, and where we've gotten to as a people. Our football really does need a restart. It needs a reboot. It needs somebody to spring some hope with respect to development in our game. Else, we will do this matramakwe, we will do this Frefrekobo every time, and then we'll go and play against properly structured sites like Morocco, like Egypt, like Senegal, like Mali, and it will be dropped at the junior level. Because over there, qualitative superiority alone doesn't win you games. At this level, development of players are almost at the same level. Nobody really is extreme. Nobody is really the best player. So you need to play as a team. You need to be structured, or else we'll have these issues. Problems in scouting of players. How well have we done in terms of scouting the best players in the Ghana Premier League? Have we done a very good job? Is it just a pool of about 200 players that we always pick the best from? We always pick what we want from? Is there the need to go back and have a proper scouting system? How does the GFA scout for players at those levels? Is there anybody in the GFA who's in charge of scouting and finding these young players at a very tender age? Is it the job of the coaches to scout for these players for themselves? No, the GFA is supposed to have a total pool of players where their scouts go and see, puts them in an age bracket, and then presents them to coaches. Coaches then invites them, watch them, and see they fit how they want to play. But that's not a system over here. Over here, if under 17 level, if say Parkwesi Fabian is the coach, he goes around, sees the players, catches them himself, and then finds a way to get them into his team. These are the basic problems that we face as a nation. Scouting, talent identification. What kind of players do you want? What kind of skill set do you want? At what point in time do you want? How do we imbibe in them the way Ghana wants to play its football? How do we imbibe in them exactly the mental fortitude, the psychological strength that you need in a player to play at the highest level? We have not done some of these things. So our talent identification has been shambolic. In that regard, scouting has been non-existent for the Ghana Football Association, and it's not just this administration, the elsewhere administration, and then almost everybody that's involved in the game. We have failed at that level. Again, how do we build the mental strength of these players when they face such games like this? Because at these levels, these are the basic things that decide those games. And there we're found wanting nobody to encourage the squad, nobody to edge the guys up to let them get the job done, because it's important at that level. We have failed ourselves. For me, I'll come back to coaching education. I think that is the singular most important thing in football development at the juvenile level. Coaching education, especially at the juvenile level. You don't play with it. You do not joke with coaching education. If you want the best players to get into your senior national team, to go through your under 17, under 23, you invest heavily in coaching. And that's where you start from. So when somebody says we need to reboot our football, we need to restart the football, we need to start from ground zero, it is about investing heavily in coaching education. It should be part of some curriculum in the university. There should be a degree program in the university somewhere that coaches go there to have not just sports and exercise science, but then generally football management, not just in the boardroom, but then on paper as a manager, the tactical whatever of the game. Those things are very, very important. But as a country, we filled with that. We have people that go to do license D for a week and they come back and they say that they are coaches. We have people that go to do license C for 4 weeks, for 3 weeks, and they said they are coaches. Trust you me, there is a lack of knowledge at those levels. And I've seen it personally, where people who are coaches fail to even upgrade themselves. They fail to learn. They fail to read. They fail to put themselves out there to have extra information to be able to send down to these people. And mind you, there's a thing about coaching. It's just like teaching. If you may have all the sense, all the knowledge about coaching, but your ability to transfer those knowledge, those ideas, that vision into your players, a different ball game altogether. Forcing them to it is not the way to go. You need to let them buy into your idea. You need to coax them technically, to get them to understand how you want to play and how your team wants to play. And we have failed as a nation. And that's exactly what we're losing by 5-1 to this Moroccan side. When talent-wise, we're a better squad, we're a better side. So the football has been shambolic. That game against Morocco was something that you don't want to see again. And I know we are going to beat Guinea, but when we do, I hope we don't just think that we are a good team all of a sudden, but we go back and still try to develop. Whilst we are going on playing tournament, we should be able to reset at some point in time, and then grow as a nation for the football. We cannot tackle football as politics like we do. There's a faction that wants to current people out. The current people are doing their best with propaganda and then PR to make sure they look good in the eyes of the people. And generally, this is our problem. The next guy who comes, he will face the same problems over and over again, because that's exactly what we've done to ourselves. And we need to be very careful, else it's taking a nosedive, and then literally nobody and nothing can save the football if we and the people who are really in charge and at the helm of affairs don't sit up and do the right thing. Thank you. My name again is Fiifi-Manfred. As the first ever analysis I'm doing for, the national team, Ghana Black Meteors, and I'm grateful that you're here. Thank you very much. I'll see you. Bye.